Our topic is ISU's football team. Seth Holmes, he used embodied ethnography to get a better understanding and a good perspective on how the migrant farm workers lived. An example is when he physically worked in the fields with them harvesting crops. I will be applying this towards ISU's football team. Some things that would include embodied ethnography would be traveling with the football team, joining them for practice. That way you are able to understand and getting to feel the physical and emotional responses of being a player during practice. That way it shows us what they go through, like the frustration of dropping a pass, missing a block or a tackle, and the physical exhaustion of having to sprint repeatedly. Things that are learned from embodied ethnography of the ISU's football team is that football players get injured often because of the physicality of the sport. And these injuries can range from something small as a simple sprain or to something as big as a broken bone or muscle tear. One thing is that recovery is very important, and players have trainers to help them work through injuries to recover properly.
Conduct our ethnography of the Iowa State University football team, we'll get to experience what it's like being on a season schedule. Once games start, they'll go every week from August 31st to December 7th, with the exception of September 14 and October 26. After finals, players will get a break for about a month until the start of June, and we'll get to experience how most of the players spend their free time. Once we get to June, the team will hold workouts again until about a week before training camp, and after training camp, they'll get one last break for a week before school starts and the season starts again.
Next, we'll be talking about football players' struggles with time between classes and football. In this TED Talk from Paul Banas, he hits some good points on athletes' normal day schedule, such as waking up early from 5 to 6, going to class all day, and then practicing later in the afternoon. He also talks about how the average athlete sleeps for less than 7 hours a night, and that is less than the recommended amount, which is 9.5 hours. Another point he hits is away games. When players go away, such as Iowa State when they go away to the Big 12 championship down in Texas, that takes an impact on catching up on their homework or studying for exams because they're too busy preparing for big games that are already far away, and they're already missing classes from having to travel. That goes to my next point, causing athletes to miss classes and or exams. Due to this, athletes have to go to tutors or they have to end up taking online classes to make up for this. That way they're able to attend their classes online, or from their in-person classes they have a tutor to help catch them up. Next, I want to talk about the average D1 in-season football schedule. On the website of NCSA Sports, Coach Zach Willis posted the average D1 athlete schedule while in season of the football year. And Zach Willis, who has coached for many universities like the University of South Carolina, Michigan State, and the University of Miami, Ohio, he shows us the average D1 athletes, such as Iowa State athletes in football. He shows us their schedule from waking up from 5 to 6, going to strength and conditioning, team meetings, then showering and get to class. From class, they have lunch in between it, and then they have to go and watch game film. In the afternoon, it shows that they get tape before practice to help prevent injuries. They practice with the team for about 3 hours. Then they shower and go back to more training. They eat dinner, and then they go to their academic support center. That way they can catch up with their classes with their tutors. Then finally, at the end of the day, from 9:30 to 12, they go back to finish their homework. And as college athletes, we always have a bunch of homework. You can look back and kind of relate this with the first book with Seth Holmes and think and relate the athletes with the Oaxaca people and how they put a lot of stress and work on their bodies every single day just to make it through.
For the part relating to our ethnography about Jessica Calino and high stakes gaming, a little bit about the economic relations too from Tanya Lee, is that Iowa State is one of the main funders for just money that's fed into the campus and that goes back into the athletic facilities and things like that. So one thing that we could look at is how does Iowa State maybe fundraise, or how do donors or boosters affect the money for the team, and where does that go, as well as where does that go for the school. And then also not only does the football team have impact on the school, but the community around it, and that could be seen by businesses or hotels having boosted revenue on during the football season, specifically game days, and or companies that sell Iowa State football merch or just the school's merch in general. And then more towards specifically the high stakes in the casino part could be the NIL opportunities, which is kind of similar to the newfound revenue or profit that the Seminoles have found, and that can be, like how do different people get different amount of dividends or different NIL opportunities or money, and does this cause tension between people that are receiving more than others, like the quarterback or the wide receivers compared to the offensive linemen, or things like that. And what kind of what can these players do with the newfound money that they have? And this would be an interesting part to see, like kind of more like locker room and just like outside of like the field. That would be an important part of our ethnography.